it do the little camera thing. There we go.
Oh, okay, we're recording. Welcome back to the 9 to 5 boys. It is your hosts, Gil, respectively, and Eric over here. Um, what up, viewers? Let's see, what has been going on? So I just got back today from a trip to South Lake Tahoe, which overall was good. I talked about some of the not so fun parts with Eric before recording, but I'm going to talk about the fun parts I had.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's see. So the drive up was cool. So it was a 4 hour drive. So like from the Bay Area to South Lake Tahoe, it's about a 4 hour drive if you straight shot it with zero traffic. There was traffic today coming back, and we also stopped for food. Um, and so that turned into like 5 hours, but that was fine. And
Jesus
so
Christ.
yeah, a bit of a drive. But so anyway, so the drive up was fun because it was just me and my boys hanging out as old times. We got there, and so the first night we got there pretty early. We got there like 4 p.m. ish. I want to say something like that, maybe 3:30. We got there pretty middle of the afternoon, towards the evening, and so we were all hanging out. We were starved, which this was kind of an annoying part. It was like Jack Cam and I were like, "Hey, let's figure out food before we go out and excessively drink, as the plan is," because it was a weekend of debauchery, as we had labeled it. But um, so we didn't really get like a solid result of that. Like we kept having to like pester the group about it. No one was listening because they're all so active. And so we like baked these frozen pizzas or whatever, which kind of worked out for the most part. But I really didn't eat that much the first day. I had like a bagel in the morning. I had a breakfast sandwich for like second breakfast, and then I had that couple pizza slice, like probably like three or four little tiny pizza slices of like a frozen pizza. So you can imagine what that serving is like. But so anyway, so we went to the bar that
Yeah.
night. There's a bar like stumbling distance from the cabin we stayed at, which for overall was fun. They have karaoke, and I mean our group was being like pretty obnoxious, I think. And then it was an annoying back and forth because me and Cam were like, we had a crowd of 10 people, which like was kind of a lot of energy for me personally. Um, but so me and Cam found this one booth in the back, right? So there's like the bar setup is like you got the front entrance, there's a little area in the front, and that's where the karaoke's at. And then me and Cam went down a hallway, and there's like a back area, and so like it's a tiny hallway. It's kind of like the size of the hallway I got back here. But
Hmm.
so we went to this booth that could fit all 10 of us because the booth they originally grabbed could only fit really 6 of us, and the other four schmucks who didn't get lucky enough to have a seat have to stand. None of them wanted to move to that booth, and they were like, "Oh, this is the best seat for karaoke," even though it wasn't starting for another 45 minutes. But anyway, so we had eventually a lot of the other patrons of the bar noticed we needed a bigger table. So one of them finally gave up a booth that was right next to the karaoke, luckily, so we got that eventually. Karaoke was fun overall. Our group was very rowdy, and I will say often, like, I don't know how other patrons felt about this. Maybe it helped, maybe it hindered, I don't know. But the group kind of sang over the person who was singing, so no one could hear the person doing the karaoke, which it could work, right? Because like, I mean, it's just karaoke at a bar is like it's one of those things that like you don't take it too seriously. You're just singing to a bunch of drunk people, and if you got like a good crowd with you, they're gonna sing along with you, guaranteed. I'd say the better crowd we had one time was like we went out to karaoke in like San Jose at this one place, and we had a good group of people who were encouraging all the patrons and cheering them on and stuff, and allowing them the space to like sing. We'd sing probably the chorus with them and stuff, but not over them. And so and I very much heard the next night or the next day that like, or I guess so. Well, I'll get to it in a sec. So first night was overall pretty fun. There was a little weird shit towards the end, but that's what happens when it was what I knew was going to happen. People get very drunk, they get very emotional, they do shit, and it kills the vibe.
Damn.
So even like when we got back by 2 a.m., um, we got back at like 1:30, and still like 2:30 in the morning, Haley was running around and causing a ruckus and insisting we all stay up and do crazy shit. And it's like me and Cam were already like looking to clock out. Um, and I think a couple other people were kind of over it too. They were all drunk and kind of to that point where the room was spinning. And so then the next day was nice because me and Cam woke up early. It was just us first up. We we went to go to the store down the block, which that was really funny because I slipped in some ice, like some ice that was frozen on the asphalt. So I slipped and it hurt. I mean, it wasn't fun in the moment. So I literally, it was like a cartoon. I like slipped up and both my legs were in the air for a moment, and I just landed on my ass straight. I also bruised my thumb somehow for like a day. I don't know what happened. Maybe I tried to catch myself. I don't remember what happened. But I fell back and it was like my whole ass was just sore.
Well, as long as you didn't hit your fucking head on the ground, that'd be fucking bad.
Yeah, actually, I was very impressed. I didn't make any head contact, which was nice, and
Yeah.
the rest of my body was fine. My ass took the beating, which I appreciate that ass. But
Well, it prepares you for later.
oh yes.
Yes.
Oh my. And so
Oh my.
so it was. I got up. It was painful. It was a little sore to walk back, but I was giggling it off. I was kind of laughing my head off actually about it. It was very funny. Rest of the day I was pretty sore, but I was mobile, so nothing was like damaged too bad or anything. So that was pretty fun. And then once Jack woke up, we went down to the lake, just us three again. Hung out, wandered through the snow. I need to bring snowshoes next time I go. I bring like sneakers or Vans or whatever, and like it works out for the most part. I wore wool socks the whole trip because I didn't want to get I didn't want my feet to be cold or anything. I didn't want them to be freezing if I'm going to be having any other barriers between the snow besides that and my shoes.
Smart.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, that was another thing too. I guess I misplaced my wool socks when I moved into this apartment, and so the morning of, I'm packing last minute as I always do because I'm very just bad at like who take like how do you, most I'll do is like a day before I'm leaving for a trip because a lot of the shit I need is like shit I use on the daily. So it's like I need to have it here in the morning so I can use it, and then I'll pack it and go. And I've got a checklist and everything, so that usually helps out. But I guess so the morning of, I was looking for my wool socks, and I was like, I don't have them. So I rushed to Target before meeting up with the boys to grab some, and that worked out. But anyway, so we went to the lake, we got back. Finally, those schmucks had woken up, and they promised us they were going to cook us a big old breakfast, which they did. That worked out. That was nice. It was calm. We watched a football game that was relaxing. That was probably one of the highlights of the trip was watching football because we watched.
Was that Cowboys versus the 49ers, right?
That was yesterday's games. So that was one of yesterday's games, which was nail biting, dude. It was very close. It was very close. It was very cool.
What teams?
So let's see. So on Saturday, we watched the first game was the Bengals versus the Bills. That was yesterday. So then Saturday was what game did we watch in the early afternoon? Oh, it was the Chiefs and the Jaguars, Jacksonville Jaguars. Which that was a really fun game to watch. It was pretty, dude. So the quarterback Mahomes fucking sprained his ankle in like I think the second quarter.
Jesus.
Of it. But motherfucker was insistent on playing. He was hopping and still kicking their asses, which was really dope.
That's fucking incredible. I love that. Oh,
Patrick Mahomes is a goat. I'm not a sports fan in any capacity. I root for my home teams like the Niners, Warriors, San Francisco Giants, whatever the fuck, right? San Jose Sharks, even though they usually suck, but still gotta support them. But so I don't care for the Chiefs, but Mahomes is a goat. That was fucking impressive. That was hilarious to watch. It was really great. And then that night we went to this bar down by the casinos called the Lucky Beaver, which I think partly because the number of us and partly because of the attitude that like the group kept giving, they fucking hated us. And I don't take any responsibility of that because it's like, so like as I was telling you, it was myself and my two buddies, and then one of their sister had come along and invited like fucking 7 of her friends or 6 of her friends, which turned out to be like 10 people. And so the 70% that were her people were generally like obnoxious and kind of annoying. Jack and I were pretty cool usually the whole time. But so anyway, I think the establishment hated us eventually because they got they pissed off the waitress and they got the manager involved.
Jesus, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that we were waiting there for a long time, but we're also 8 fucking people. You can't, and 2 more showing up, so it's like we're 10 people, so you can't like be upset about that. But anyway, um, so we watched the New York Giants versus the Eagles, which was really fun. It was very cool. I mean, the Eagles wiped the floor with the Giants, but yeah, it was like shameful. So that
Damn.
was cool. But then, so like we got back, and like Cam and I decided to stay in because we were kind of like pooped out from the first night. The first night I got very drunk. I was also very annoyed the first night, and like this isn't. I don't think this is a problem with the bartender. I think this is like just kind of like the problem of a bar setting, especially when it's packed. And Jack and Haley always like going to packed places. Is that I had to wait a long time to even order a fucking drink. I just always get annoyed at that part. It's like, like if it's a minute or two for the bartender to get around, that's fine. If I'm waiting like 10 minutes, it's like, I'm not shaming the bartender in any way. It's I know it's always the level of business that it's getting, but it makes it very annoying to go out when you're trying to. Anyway, so
No, it makes sense. I totally agree with you, man.
the first night. So then the second night, me and Cam stayed in and we watched a movie. We didn't even really finish it because we fell asleep halfway through, which I need to finish it. Actually, I might finish it tonight after this.
Do you remember which movie it was?
It was The Pale Blue Eye on Netflix, the one with Christian Bales and that one dude. He plays Edgar Allan. Well, Christian Bale does not play Edgar Allan Poe. He plays a detective. There's a Harry Potter actor who plays Poe. And it's very interesting and quirky, and I'm pretty sure that's how Poe would be in real life, or would have been. He was just some awkward goth kid, probably.
I mean, yeah, he pretty much started the whole trend, so yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But I remember from the parts I saw, phenomenal. I want to finish it for sure.
It's a slow burn, but it's very good. It's very fucking good.
Okay, you saw it. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
It is slow, but boy is Bale. Bale's kind of funny in it. I like his attempt at playing a detective type. It's very funny. So that night, that was good. It's overall a nice day. And then yesterday was like couldn't have been more perfect, dude. It was just like let's see, what did we do? We woke up. Cam and I had some breakfast. We hung out a bit. We watched both it was the Bills and the Bengals game, which the Bengals beat the Bills, and then we watched the Cowboys versus the Niners, which was a very close game and very fun to watch, very cool. Yeah, and it was just so nice. It was very light. We stayed in. We ordered pizza. We didn't
Yes.
eat there, and then it was a Sunday, so like Haley and her friend Alex were like. They wanted to go out because it was like our last night we could go out, but it's like it's a Sunday. Only alcoholics go out on a Sunday to the bar. Telling the truth. So like, you know what I mean? Just they don't expect anyone to be there, which they said no one was. They actually at one point said they were the only ones in the bar, which like should tell you something. But anyway, I don't mind them trying to chase one last night. But me and the boys stayed in. We watched the first 2 episodes of The Last of Us, which if you have not started that show, dude, gotta hop onto it.
See, I want to start watching that, but I'm also thinking if I get invested in that, then Invincible season 2 is going to come out shortly afterwards, and I got to jump on that before I get spoiled on Twitter or something.
Wait, yeah, wasn't there going off track? Wasn't there some teaser for Invincible recently? Is this supposed to? They're like releasing season 2 soon this year?
There was, and then I think there was like a different teaser too that came out that is like him and the alien voiced by Seth Rogen are sitting in a diner and they're talking to each other.
I can't remember what that alien's name is, but I love the Invincible comics and I love that character. Yeah. I love a lot of the characters. They're great. Is his name Alan? It's Alan, right?
I think so. And can we just talk about it? The voice casting for like all the characters. It's like perfect. Just
on point, like Stephen Yeun as fucking Invincible, J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man.
It's perfect.
Sandra, wait, is it Sandra Oh as the mom?
Sandra Oh, yeah.
Fucking love her. She's phenomenal. Justin Mutsekis. I hope I pronounced that correct. I don't think I am. I'm butchering that.
Yeah.
As Rex Rocket. Oh my god, dude.
Or no, Rexplode.
Rexplode. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rexplode. That's right. Um,
Zaz-
phenomenal casting.
Zazie Beetz as Invisible's girlfriend. I forget her fucking name, unfortunately.
Um, Adam Eve, dude.
No, was it Amber? It was the black chick.
Oh wait, that's right. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amber. Yeah. Who plays Adam Eve?
Oh, I gotta look this up, man. Like,
Sorry, spoilers. Fuck you. If you haven't read the comics.
It's been out for a while. You can literally binge watch. You can binge watch the first season in like a day. Like, come on, people.
And also, like, the comics have been out for 20 years. You can fucking read them.
Wait, 20 fucking years? Are you serious?
Well, they were published, I think, like 2005, maybe. Something like that. Pretty early on, for sure.
Oh. Fuck, I feel old.
They're great, yeah. The comics are... I've gotten up to, like, volume, like, 22 or 23 there in the shelf. I can't remember. Who plays Adam Eve?
I'm looking it up right now, man. Like, there's a lot of, like, characters voicing the same... Or a lot of voice actors, voicing the same people. Oh, Jillian Jacobs. I never heard of her before.
I feel like I might have. I'd have to see a face for it.
She was in Community, apparently.
Was she the blonde?
It looks like it, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, she's also in, Wait, is she in, She's in fucking that Netflix series Love. Oh my god, yeah, she's great. She's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. Stat cast! Oh my god, that's crazy. But yeah, so let's see. Circling back, Last of Us, so we watched the first 2 episodes, which was dope. And then we showed Jack that movie, The Bad Guys. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
The animated film, right?
It dropped on Netflix. It's actually... this is my second viewing through. I really enjoyed it again. It's just a very well-written movie. It's a pretty simple message and stuff, but it's really... You actually really fall in love with these characters. You really like where it's pretty predictable too. I gotta warn you, it's pretty predictable, but it's like kids' movies aren't that they aren't that subtle.
Or deep.
They can be deep. But they're not particularly subtle.
I mean,
I also will say this one isn't particularly deep in any way, but I like the way it's written. It really plays on like heist movies and like that sort of shit, right? Like crime movies and stuff, and it's really fun that way. The writers obviously have a lot of fun, and the cast is really good. It's got Sam Rockwell plays the big bad wolf. Mark Maron plays the snake. Craig Robinson is the shark. Anthony Ramos, that guy from Hamilton, one of the guys from Hamilton. That's not the guy from Hamilton. That's not very descriptive. That's like people assuming it's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Exactly, I was gonna say, yeah.
Anthony Ramos, he plays the piranha, and then Awkwafina. Like, you know how there's like that trend on Twitter, like to hear me out? Honestly, dude, I think Awkwafina is like kind of bad, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I kind of already got that vibe from like Shang-Chi and then the upcoming movie Renfield.
Yeah, she kind of bad, bro. She's also pretty funny. She's very funny. She's a very funny actress. I saw her in. She has her own show, Nora from Queens, which is also on HBO Max.
Yeah.
It's very funny. It's very raunchy, but if you're into that sort of shit, like if you like Broad City humor or like type shit, you'll enjoy that. Broad City. So the only episode I've seen is the episode with the trip on shrooms, because my friend wanted to show me that. And boy, that show is like raunchy, but it's funny. I love.
No, there's literally a whole fucking sequence where one of them dances around the apartment naked to a song because no one else is in the apartment. That's literally the only reason why.
That's usually how it is when you have roommates, dude, and you can finally when they're out and about, you can walk around naked for a little bit or do something or other that you're not supposed to be doing when they're there. Boy, it's freeing. It's nice not having roommates.
Yeah.
Having my own little place. So I could do that all the time if I wanted to, but it's nicer when you can certainly do it. But
well, thankfully you didn't do it for the podcast. Fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I didn't. Luckily, I'm all clothed and stuff.
You walk in with fucking Mjolnir swinging between your legs. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, I call that shit Stormbreaker.
Shit.
There. But
wait, what?
What?
No, what did you say after Stormbreaker?
I said it's second to Mjolnir. Um, but so
Bro.
let's see. So circling back. Um,
I know we were talking about Aquafina and the bad guys.
oh, that's right. So we watched the bad guys that night. And she's so bad. But
100%.
but yeah. And then this last stretch was kind of annoying. It was like part of it. I think also was kind of my fault because like so me and Cam were kind of like I think me, Cam, Jack, and the other guy Kingston we were all kind of like ready to leave by like really like 10:30. We were just like sitting there waiting on Haley and the other guy Alex, and and that's cool and shit, right? But like they come out at like 10 when we've like spent the morning cleaning up the cabin, making sure it's presentable, and getting all our stuff packed and being ready to hit the road. They're like, "You guys in a rush or anything?" And I was like, "Kind of not really, but like we do want to get out of here." So I did kind of give them the leeway to not be rushed, but I also would have liked to have gotten out of there by the morning, like by like 11, say. But we didn't hit the road till like 12:30. Um,
Ah.
so that was kind of annoying, just waiting on them, and then like having to figure out the Tetris of the car because like Haley brought 4 fucking bags apparently for a single weekend. Um, I don't know how one does that, but you know, yeah. Anyway, so overall, that was the summation of my weekend. That was the fun I had. That was probably the biggest component of my week. Um, Work this week's been pretty cool.
That's good.
Gotten a lot of. I got it was so I took Friday and Monday off. Like today's Monday. I took both those days off from work. And of course Friday, I brought my laptop with me, which I was glad I did because I was able to like review one thing and get it done real quick, so I don't have to worry about doing it tomorrow. When I come in, but like I saw my email and like I got like 4 referrals on the day I was off. I was like, cool, thanks. I'm not here to answer that, and like I have to
Uh,
back to that and check in with them. And I got another one today. I was checking my email before this, but
uh,
that was fine. I mean, it's like it's good. It's good that I'm building up a caseload. I want to be active. I want to meet with these clients. I want to provide treatment. I like the job I'm doing. It was just very annoying that it was on my days off. They decided to do that on the days I like specifically like had requested in advance. But anyway, you know what? Just gonna let it be. That's just their job. They probably got them that day. They probably opened them that day and were like, "Hey, we gotta let the guy know." So it was probably just like an automatic thing for her. But so anyway, what has been going on in the world this week?
oh, fucking George Santos. Oh, that fucking asshole.
But yeah, so I haven't really been keeping up with this story. You should explain it. So he dressed in drag when he was younger, but he's being like homophobic about drag queens and shit.
Sort of, yes and no. So let me give a quick rundown. Okay, so George Santos is a U.S. representative for the District of New York, specifically Long Island, but parts of New York, based on his coverage.
Mm.
He is a prolific liar. He has claimed
Sounds
to...
like a lot of politicians, but yeah.
No, more or less lying of going to certain schools that he's been to, starting certain charities that he's done, which he's done neither of. Lying about his mother dying on 9/11 and also dying on a completely separate day, so she died twice, technically.
She's a true American hero. She died twice.
I know,
Died
right?
during one of our biggest tragedies and died on some other fucking day.
Right? And then
She's
also
a hero. Damn it.
lying about a few other things, but most importantly, when evidence came to light that he used to be a drag queen in Rio de Janeiro, he completely denied it, obviously, being a Republican and supporting the Republican agenda, which seemed to kind of persecute,
demonize like drag queens for whatever fucking reason, which like really they should be going after Catholic priests, but that's just me.
Exactly. So he completely denied it, and one of the worst things that he done, which came to light, is his fucking animal charity that he claimed to have started, which never actually existed or happened ever. He apparently was contacted by a homeless man whose dog developed a stomach tumor and was basically knocking on death's door. this veterinarian he went to visit said, "Hey, I know a guy who owns a charity who can help you out." Fucking George Santos. He helps this guy start a charity fund to get $3,000 for his dog's surgery. George
Okay.
Santos just misleads him on which veterinarian to go to for the operation and doesn't answer any of his texts or calls and pockets the money and just leaves.
It started off pretty okay. It was like, okay, he's on, he's actually doing the charity thing he claimed to. That's fucked. That's horrible.
Yeah?
Like not only like it's like he not only like lied about starting the charity, he misled somebody into believing that it existed. He even actively raised money and then just like pocketed the money and let a dog die and an owner who has nothing but the dog probably lose that fucking dog. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
just
literally the
horrible,
dog, I
dude.
think, died like a month later after all that. Like, it was fucked up. It takes a special kind of evil to let a dog die from essentially
A homeless
cancer.
dog.
A homeless dog die from cancer, essentially, because it's a tumor. And then keep the fucking money you raised to actually save the dog in the first place. Politics aside, that's really fucked on a moral and spiritual level.
Morality's pretty subjective, but that's just fucked, dude. That's fucked up.
Yeah, you look me in the
Um,
eyes and tell me you can support this man based on his like ideology. You look me in
that's
the eyes and
pretty
tell me
that's pretty
that.
fucking wrong, man. Like how do you that's just straight up. That's like I'm speechless. He deceived again a man who is in a difficult situation, who's like losing his probably his only family at that point, like, and
Probably the only light in his life.
you're offering him false hope. You're offering him a false helpline here, a lifeline, I should say, and you're revoking that and then keeping the money that you tricked people into raising for him. That's really just fucking horrible, and that should be like a human rights violation thing. I don't know. That's like very just not bueno. And anyone who thinks that that's like okay in any capacity or tries to justify it, let's like go fuck yourself. Man, that's
Yeah.
fucked. Don't fucking man. That just leaves a bad taste. Man, that's unbelievable. I can't
Yeah.
believe one would stoop so low. Like that's just
And
I literally can't fathom it.
the tragic part about that is that he probably used that same money to fund his campaign to become a US representative.
Maybe, or he
Yeah.
spent it on something else. Who knows? Maybe it'll be in like a year or a few months. We'll find out he like did some like Jeffrey Epstein level shit. But we'll see. Sounds like he's pretty capable.
It sounds like it, yeah. It's weird too because like if you look at any picture of George Santos, you can forget the evil things that he's done. If you've never even heard of the evil shit that he's done, you can just look at him and think this guy is scheming things. I would not trust this man.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. It's
He looks like a Bond villain. Like seriously.
yeah, he. I don't mean to make fun of people for their looks, but like he's an evil human being. Obviously, we've established this.
Yeah,
So I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna rip into that guy.
yeah.
Um, he he looks like a fucking idiot.
Well, it also seems to be a consistent thing where like hate seems to like turn people into like just the physically most despicable people imaginable.
I mean, just like yeah, look at Steve Bannon. That motherfucker like was like, oh, I'm like the supreme race. Well, his skin looked like it was falling off. Like I don't understand, dude.
Exactly.
Speaking of horrible people in history, I'm gonna jump a little bit here. There was some discourse on Twitter this week. Not really discourse. It was just a funny meme. Apparently, something came out about like, um, Hitler's like I guess like well, um, so people were like saying he's like a pedophile, I guess, because like he was like dating girls under like 18 or whatever. Eva Braun was like young when he met her or whatever.
Yeah, she was 17.
Which
Yeah.
yeah, which like yeah, that's bad. Um, but he's kind of already on the track. He's already got a pretty good checklist of like bad things he's done in his lifetime. I don't think it would really. I don't think it makes like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not justifying him doing that, but like it doesn't add much to the shit list he's already developed in his whole career. This guy fucking started the Nazi Party in Germany. Fucking was instrumental in helping kill 6 million Jews with some of the biggest death machines that have ever been created in human history. He went to war with several countries and led to a war that like cost the lives of 20 million people. It's insane, man. It's horrible. And so what does it fucking matter that we also want to add that he's a pedophile? He was just a hateful microdicked dude who didn't deserve to live, and he game-ended himself because he got cornered. So
Exactly. He
it's
went
just
out the pussy way. That's what he did.
he did, man. He was cowardice and.
Also,
Yeah,
I love how people are like having this discourse, and I'm like, you do realize it's like the late 30s, early 40s he did this, right? Like, people could still die of fucking like diseases that are easily preventable nowadays. Like,
it was actually pretty okay that he, culturally speaking, that he did what he did.
yeah,
Dating younger women, but like,
exactly. Like in
which of course
16.
isn't acceptable. We're not making it acceptable, but like,
No, of course.
it's just a common practice at the time, right? It was just a product of the time.
Yeah, look, you look to like
and-
years and centuries like 1640, like people marrying 14-year-olds because they expect
even
people to
10-year-olds.
die by the time they're 30. So, like,
even like 10 or 11 year olds, once in like ancient cultures, again, we're not justifying any of this. This is really just like a product of the time. Mortality rates were pretty high. Humans didn't really have a lot of modern advancements in technology and medical sciences because they still believed in the invisible man in the sky. Um, and they still do, which I think is holding us back. But I'm not going to get into that topic. But once a young girl was of age to be able to carry a pregnancy, even be able to carry one, people would obviously be working to get her pregnant so that she can then reproduce and stuff and provide children. Hopefully, I mean, it was also like at that time in that era when a life expectancy of someone surviving the survivability of someone going through pregnancy or like going through a childbirth would be like 50-50. You know what I mean? It's like a coin to us. So you'd have to see. But yeah, so it was just kind of more common practice. And as we developed, as mortality rates have gained higher, as moral ethical standards have changed, we've determined, okay, yeah. And I think 18 is a bit young. I would, so I'm 25 right now. My rule of thumb is nothing under 20. Except once I hooked up with a 19-year-old, but and so I don't. Teenagers just seem very young, and at 19, I probably wasn't making the right decisions. Um, but or 18, 19, I should say. So I think I think it should be 20, but that also makes it a little more challenging and can lead to a lot of other weird sort of issues. Um, it is just the there's a weird area with there's a weird separation, right? With when it comes to the age of consenting to sex, it's it could really it can be an issue of there's a lot of gray areas and determinations of what's okay and stuff, and it's very hard to determine when is someone really ready to be able to consent to sex, because sex don't get sex is obviously something that humans seek out. It's what a lot of organisms such as ourselves do, because boy, it just feels so fucking great, man. Let me tell you what. But
I know, right? And just because it feels so great and that slight, desire to like spread on the gene and be, your dominant gene in the gene pool. But mostly because it feels good. It's mostly the overwhelming feeling that it feels good that it incentivizes you to actually reproduce.
well, yeah, that's sort of the evolutionary point of it being so pleasurable. Is if sex was painful, humans would be having a lot less, and we'd be having a lot less humans.
Yeah.
But so the sex is just very fun when it's done well and done with two consenting adults. It's so that's why we pursue it. And so, but people have to be very thoughtful about what they're doing and stuff, and it is very risky because when you that's why there's so much research into reproductives and so many reproductives available, reproductive options, I should say, and a lot of them aren't great. I was reading an NPR thing, and I also talked to my girlfriend a lot about this. Is So I was reading an NPR thing that like a lot male contraceptives haven't really changed in the last probably about century,
No.
or even over, because like we've just been pretty happy with like, oh, we'll just wrap it with a rubber. Meanwhile, women have all these different options, and they all still have really shitty side effects. So it's like, you know what I mean?
On
So
top
they're
of the
working
shit
on
they have to deal with fucking menstruation in the first place. Like
on a regular
it's
basis and stuff. Yeah, all the different yeah, like menstruation is just horrible. I cannot imagine doing that once a month. That's
yeah,
bullshit.
it's very one sided. I mean, I'm fine with like feeling some strange side effects if I can say, "Hey, I'm doing this for you, baby." Like I'm trying to be on the same playing field.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like there's research going on. I think this has been talked about for a couple of years. There's research going on to male contraceptives about like an ointment that can reduce the risk of you getting someone pregnant if you're not using like a rubber, right? Like
Yeah.
the approved protection, which I think is a great idea. I will happily use that whenever it's readily available on the market. But the fact that only women have the options to contraceptives and all of them have these very challenging side effects, it's like it is very. I mean, it is certainly. I imagine the research very much is based in like sexist preferences. Like I'm sure it's like because especially I'm not gonna get on my high horse here too much and talk about the subject, but like overall, a lot of components of society, including the sciences, have been dominated by men, and so researchers were probably like, "Oh, this rubber that's not particularly, it's not terribly uncomfortable for men. It's not terribly difficult for men to use. It's pretty good. It's like got an 85% chance of preventing pregnancy. Fuck it, let's use it. Do and like some women have probably been like, do we want to look into other options that men could use? Nope. And so it's probably just been like that. Um, so yeah, I think it's very much based within that. Probably that's probably limited it. It also just maybe I was also reading the NPR article. There may just be challenges with the male biology in preventing pregnancy because like while it is like we're let me give a little sex ed to the audience here. When a man and a woman, or man and a man, or woman and a woman, or whatever you want to identify as, are in love, or they need money, or they're drunk, or they want to have fun, they have what's called sex, and so that's when like the person who's able to shoot sperm into the person who's able to receive it. And so like even though our job is pretty basic on an evolutionary scale, we shoot our load. Um, it's apparently uh, easier to find out ways to stop the female side of that from the other reproductive organs from catching that and being able to get pregnant and stuff and fertilizing the egg. Um, so I guess that's one of the challenges too, is just the biology component. But yeah, I absolutely. As soon as there's something on the market that helps me shoot blanks, I'm taking it, bro. I'm fucking taking it. No kappa.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else? What else has been going on in the world?
Oh God.
There was a shooting. Was it yesterday in like Los Angeles?
There was 4 fucking shootings in the span of like 24 hours, bro. What do you mean?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, there
God damn
was.
it!
Yeah. America's back, baby. America is back, baby.
Well, we've been back. I remember last year we had a huge upspike in shootings. I was like, all right, we're back to normal here. Which like I make light of the situation. Don't get me wrong. I fucking hate it. It's a gun problem. Just as long like here's my stance on it. And like and this is the problem of it. Is like as long as we see the ownership of guns as a right and not a privilege, we are absolutely going to continue to see this happen because it's not going to change. I knew, oh my God, was it 11 years ago? Sandy Hook. As soon as I saw that story happen, and then within the next month, nothing happened legislatively. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's where we're at. Cool. All right.
And weirdly enough, the biggest thing to come out of that was fucking Alex Jones trying to turn it into like a conspiracy theory and then getting fucking sued over it. That's literally the only reason why people still knew about it after it fucking happened.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's horrendous. Wow, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Even at that time, I was like in high school at the time. I was like, oh, we're not. we're not gonna make any progress here. This is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And look at where we are. So 4 shootings. Okay, so I know there was the one in Minnesota. What was it? Monterey Park, California.
Yeah.
Killed 10 people, injured 10. On a Lunar Year Fest, like man, we can't do anything without having to worry about guns. I went to the Go Go Garlic Festival the year of the shooting. It was the day before the shooting, and I was walking around the whole time, and I was like, man, it's an open field. God forbid, like I thought if it would happen, And then the next day I come to work and my boss is like, "Hey, I'm glad you didn't go today." And I was like, "Bro, no way." And he was like, "Yeah, I got shut up." And I was like, "Fuck, that's stupid." Um, but so it's like you can't go anywhere today without having that worry. You can't go to school, can't go to church, can't go to outings, can't go to concerts, can't go to nightclubs, can't go to I don't know. You fucking can't go to fucking grocery stores probably. You can't go to post office.
Well,
You
I think
fucking
it also doesn't help with the fucking response to like such an incident where like it actually gets like properly dealt with. Okay, so there was one shooting. I don't remember exactly when it was, where it was. It was fairly recent. I want to say like midway last year. Okay, fucking shooting happens.
uh
Shit's going down. One fucking bystander, this fucking hero, charges the guy, disarms him, and beats the shit out of him, along with
righteous.
several other people. And guess what fucking happens? Cops roll up, they arrest him, thinking he's the shooter, because he's holding the gun.
Okay, like did he eventually get released? Like did they figure out?
He
Okay.
did, but because cops are fucking stubborn, it took him like 24 to 48 hours before that fucking happened. Yeah.
It's like okay, like in an emergency response situation, I can understand why they would react and like look at the guy with the gun. But like as soon as you get the right information, just drop the shit.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's also like
ridiculous.
on the same fucking heels as like the I don't want to fucking pronounce it wrong. Uladad, right? Uladad, Texas.
I don't give a fuck about Texas, man. What do I care how you pronounce it? I don't even know. What was this?
That was another shooting that happened, and the fucking cops wouldn't go in to deal with the situation because it's like they're scared. It's like
Oh wait, was that the Uvalde? The
Uvalde,
Uvalde.
that's the one. Yeah, Uvalde, not Uladad. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, that's
Uvalde.
right.
Yeah, there's like
That
they're the
was
guys with
last year.
guns,
Yeah,
and it's
that was
like, oh shit, there's a guy with a gun in there. What the fuck? You think we're crazy? Like,
what was that meme I saw? It was like it was about like some the Blue Lives Matter type of bullshit, right? They were like, "Oh, sorry, liberal, I'm not going in there. I'm scared." Like, I fucking hated that one too. That was such a like I literally I did at my last job. They had like some at the short period I was there. They had some active shooter training, which you need these days because again, this is a fucking problem that we just can't. I love the onions. This I'm going on a tangent. I love the onions response to it because they always just post the same article title. It said the headline says, there's no way to prevent this." Says country where it constantly happens, or something along those lines, where this regularly happens. I think that's the funniest shit, and it's just true. So anyway, so this guy says that this expert of like police tactics and negotiation stuff says that the Uvalde police did everything fucking wrong, which I completely agree. That was stupid. I get that your job is scary, but you're the first responder. You're supposed to handle dangerous people. Grow the fuck up or get a different job, you fucking
like
pussy. But
that's what blows my fucking mind. The fact that these guys armed to the fucking teeth, because you know they have AR-15s in their fucking police cars, which by the way is the same thing that people fucking argue is what starts these fucking shootings. Fuck you. They're armed to the fucking teeth and they're not going in. Meanwhile, a fucking another shooting happens and a fucking bystander, not even armed at all, has the courage to charge the fucking guy and take him out. That blows my fucking mind.
let's also talk
How?
Let's also talk about Uvalde, and this is a problem with the police. First off, on this podcast, we stand ACAP. We fuck the police. We don't care. They're useless. They're
Fuck
racist.
them. They're only good when people are unarmed and they can deal with them. That's yeah.
Well, if they're unarmed Caucasian,
Yeah, true.
but yeah. So the cops are useless, racist institution that need to be it needs to be demolished and just restarted. But so anyway, so speaking of Uvalde, I remember there was this mom, right? The police were like guarding the outside. They weren't letting people in. This mom charged past police, hopped over the fence, grabbed her 2 kids, and ran the fuck out. She did more than the police did in like 5 minutes. In a 5 minute sprint, which is, and then after that they harassed her because she went on public news and talked about how shit they were and how she did such a great job.
Yeah.
Which is facts, you know. But so anyway, that's horrendous. So back to these 4 shootings. There was the Monterey Park one, or the other 3.
The other 3, I know one of them was in Half Moon Bay. That's all I know. And then there was 2
Really?
others.
Was
Yeah.
that close to me? That's fucked up. I'm like an hour outside of Half Moon.
Yeah, it was 7
Fuck,
victims.
dude.
It was fucked up. Yeah.
Can't have nice things in the country. We can't.
No, you really can't.
Speaking of this gun shit, I remember it was after the Uvalde, Texas thing. It was Ted Cruz. For those who don't know, Ted Cruz is a shit stain. He's also a U.S. senator who represents Texas, and he's the only one who's represented Texas for probably the past at least 15 years. I can't remember how long he's been holding his position for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, if you want to know how we feel about Ted Cruz, he's basically the dip spit in an empty bottle of Mountain Dew. He's the human equivalent of that.
Yeah, he's the human embodiment of that. And he's like so useless, and it kind of speaks to Texan politics that like he's so bad at what he does, but like every time election season comes up for like congressional members, no one's really better than him. So it's like, come on, Texas. But anyways, so like, yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say he's like the Texan equivalent of Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
There's no one better, and there's no one else that wants the fucking job, so they gotta take him by default.
Wasn't it Kevin McCarthy? They took fucking 15 hearings or whatever it was to like finally put him in.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, if you don't want him, maybe volunteer to take the fucking job, you bunch of fucking pansies. Like, what is going on here? What is this shit?
Someone more desired, more likable, someone who may if you have to like pretty much wear people down into saying yes to a candidate.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good candidate. But
and it's certainly not good that your people complaining about it is one, a conspiracy theorist, another one who can't run a restaurant to save her life, and another one a pedophile, guaranteed. So it's very slim pickings apparently in that party. It's.
I think I've identified 2 of the 3 people you were talking about, but that was funny. But so we're talking about Ted Cruz, right? So one of the things that really got me, and it was just very representative of him, because I mean he also ran out to Cancun during one of the worst winter storms in Texas. There's like an interview with like this British reporter, and the British reporter was like, "Why is this exclusively an American problem?" And then he just didn't want to answer and walked away from the interview. He couldn't handle like it was something about like the reporter was persisting like, it's like you're saying that America's so great, but there's this overarching issue that is not being addressed, and why is it exclusively only happening in America? Because literally, like, there's no other like if we have viewers over in like other countries besides America, they're probably like confused by the fact that we have the term school shooting or mass shooting in our social lexicon, because they don't have that shit. They don't have that shit. Like,
yeah, no, the biggest thing that happened worldwide is like, a football tournament happening in Qatar, which clearly pissed off everyone else in, first world countries, obviously. And then, other than that, like, someone making their own handmade shotgun to kill a prime minister in Japan.
That's pretty badass. But also, that's like, right? I don't know what the prime minister's politics are, and I don't think you should be shooting anybody, but that's pretty fucking...
Yeah, but cool. Other countries don't have that kind of problem when you have to literally build your own shotgun from scrap to actually pull off something like that. And just one target in specific.
I mean, America, you can, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I know that, like, here in California, the laws are pretty strict, which I appreciate. So, like, you can't, like, you have to, like, wait a 10-day waiting period. I don't know if that's been extended or anything. Yeah. But I'm sure in some states, there's no waiting period. Yeah. You just go to the store, get the gun the same day.
No, in Texas, you can open carry guns and swords. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was passed a while back. That's right, the swords.
Yeah.
The gun, okay, so, like, And then, so yeah, in Texas, why aren't there more crimes stopped by open carry?
I don't know.
Maybe there is. I'd have to read that. I'm not knowledgeable on that. Maybe someone can educate me.
Or maybe because they already have the mentality where everyone has a gun, maybe don't fuck with anyone. Just be
Don't pull some
nice.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be, give that hospitality. But
Exactly, brother.
yeah, no, it's like I don't know, man. It is strictly an American problem, and it's like, and one of the things that pisses me off about the gun argument is like the politicians try to flip it. It's like, oh, it's a mental health issue. It's like, okay, you got to put more funding into mental health. No, the fuck would we do that for?
Ha, okay, joke's on you, man. It's just gonna keep happening. Fuck you.
Yeah, and it's like, well, here's. I was talking about this on the weekend, right during Tahoe. It was like because we watched a lot of cable because of the sports, and so we watched a lot of commercials. And one of the things that pissed me off was like, I just had to air my grievance. Was like, so Intuit TurboTax was like promoting commercials, and they're like, we'll make your taxes easier. And it's ironic because I'm not sure you're aware. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on the pod before. But like companies like TurboTax, H&R Block, all that sort of shit. Um, every other country, or every several other developed countries, westernized countries, I'm going to call it, have what's called free file taxing, which means their whatever their equivalent of the IRS is, they do the same shit that our IRS does. They have the income on file. They know what we make. They know what we owe. They know what our employer's taxing us. Blah blah blah. The only difference is that in those countries that have free filing taxing, it does the IRS that they have, whatever they call it, does it for you. In this country, the IRS says, "Hey, you do it for us, and if you don't give us the right answer, we'll imprison you." And it's because here's the reason: is because companies like H&R Block and Intuit TurboTax are lobbying your politicians, which lobbying is one of the most evil practices. If you're unaware, it's one of the most evil practices in politics. It is paying off fucking politicians to vote for policies that are in the interest of the companies paying them. Um, and
Yeah,
so
you have mentioned this on the pod before, so I think that's already there.
So
I will.
they're lobbying to. So what pissed me off about the commercial was like, they're like, it's a company that's actively working to make your taxes harder, and then advertises that, oh, we'll make it easier. Just pay us the money we want because we're greedy schmuckheads. It's fucking annoying. I hate this country, man. I hate this country.
Yeah, but to go back to the gun thing, just real quick, to all the viewers out there, if you want to know about my personal opinion, I believe in the Second Amendment. I just don't believe in the average American. Okay, you don't trust your retarded cousin with power tools. Why would you trust your next door neighbor who's a bit of an asshole with a gun if you don't have one?
There's a great bit. I don't remember the comedian's name. But he talks about like he's like, you know, he's talking about the Second Amendment. He's like people who own guns know a person that they don't want owning a gun, and also, um, you know, people who individuals who believe in stricter gun laws want you to register your shit. They want proper background checks. They want all this different stuff. And it's like he was comparing it to like what's the problem with like going to the DMV and registering your car? You don't go to the DMV and scream, "They're taking our cars." They're not taking your fucking
Yeah,
guns, man. They just want you to. They just want to know who owns the fucking guns. And it's like, if you think you need a gun to protect yourself from the government, you don't know how tanks work.
100%. I mean, yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, so here's my thing. It's like, and I will wholeheartedly say this is I believe in the right to protect yourself, and I think that that's what some of the Second Amendment speaks to. Um, I do think that if you want to own a gun, there needs to be a thorough background check. There needs to be a waiting period. There needs to be proper channels for which to be able to purchase and own the gun. And here's a very important thing. Um, there needs to be mandatory training on how to handle the firearm, how to unload it, how to use it safely. Because like you go to the range, right, and like you see some dumb motherfucker doing some stuff, and you're like, all right, we're all dying today. Like people need to be like properly trained on like how to use that fucking thing. It is a deadly tool. It is a tool used for hurting or killing people. It's like, and I mean, so again, I 100% respect a person, want to protect themselves, their property, whatever, right? Like, that's fine. Um, it just needs to be done with a little more caution, and it's like it needs to be done with a little more safety nets in place. You know what I mean? And like, and if that can't work out in a few decades, then we just need to remove the ability for every single person to own a gun. You just can't have you just shouldn't have that. If people prove that they can handle it, and trust me, I don't think the average American can particularly do that. There's a lot of in-home gun accidents per year. I don't know what the exact statistic on it is. Someone could quiz me. Someone could fucking comment it down below. You can, if you want to spend your days on the internet arguing with random strangers in the comment section, go for it. Not my cup of tea, but I'm sure it's your shot of whiskey, so do your thing. But
True. I think two things needs to happen. For one thing, get better mental health services. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, not only to prevent school shootings and shit like that, but just in general, like, people are busted, they're broken, they need some fucking help, man. And
well, yeah,
two,
the world sucks. It's like no wonder they're so down. But yeah,
and two, like, if you're gonna have guns in this country, like, fucking make it mandatory in schools and shit to teach kids about firearm safety. Really fucking hammer that shit in. Are you serious? The earlier you get it in, the more likely they're going to remember it and ingrain that into their everyday life. Be cautious, be careful. This is not a toy. This is a fucking tool with one purpose and one purpose only.
yeah, really, and it's like I agree with both of those points. I absolutely do think, like, I think on some component, it's like mental health issues don't necessarily equate to violence, but individuals who seek violence through like mass shootings or sprees or whatever, they're obviously not well adjusted per se. So definitely
Yeah.
access to regular mental health resources is essential. Um, and I think you're right. I think there should be a lot of gun safety even taught in public education. I think that I like there's a lot of appeal certainly to being able to like own a gun and especially shoot one. I've shot some before. They're very fun. I've gone target shooting. I
Oh,
don't go
yeah.
hunting.
Yeah,
I don't hunting and that sort of bullshit is like I mean if you're gonna use the animal to like eat or whatever, like and maybe like pelt it, sure, do your thing. But like I don't particularly like the exercise of hunting for sport, for like just doing it because you can. You
also,
take a
fuck
bit of
anyone that
like
calls it a sport. A sport has to be like both teams knowing they're in the same game. Okay, you can't have one side.
an animal doesn't really consent to like, oh, I could potentially die from this. Fuck that, like it
Yeah,
no. And so yeah, so it's not for sport. It's actually a pretty fucked up practice. But yeah, I think that's very important. So, excuse me, god damn it, long drive. So I think those very much are key points to hit home. I think that with anything that people do, right, whether it be and I'm gonna stretch this to like sex education or whatever, right, is people need to just be educated and knowledgeable on the thing they're participating in. If you're gonna like be a gun owner, you need to know how to properly make sure the gun is safe, so it doesn't go off in any way, it doesn't hurt anybody. You need to know all the components of it, all the things, and especially teaching them on all the things that could go wrong. Uh, if you were to say like maybe hurt or even kill a family member, a neighbor, a friend, whatever it may be, um, people maybe shooting it off while they're under the influence, like just gotta be very fucking, just be careful, man. Just like,
yeah.
just be cool. Why can't we just be very cool about things? And America cannot have nice things because people are dicks with it.
I mean, we fucking drive 4-ton machines to and from work, to and from the grocery store, and that can kill someone in an instant. And I know for a fact it can do that, so I'm going to be very careful when I'm using such object. How the fuck can we not treat a firearm the same way?
I got fucking. You had to do at least 6 months of training behind the wheel to drive that fucking 4-ton hunk of metal that can slaughter a whole family in the blink of an instant. It's like, man, do the same shit with guns.
Exactly, 100%. But
But on that note, I think we're ready to clock out here. It's been
I
about
think
an
so.
hour. Thank you so much for joining us on this shift. This has been the 9 to 5 boys. And we hope you enjoyed, and have a good day, good night, uh, good morning, whatever the fuck you're listening to this, watching this, whatever you're doing. Do it well and do it with grace, and just be nice to each other. We're all just like little dudes on a fucking floating dust ball in space. Let's just all be nice to each other.
Exactly. And stay classy.